Every day after returning home from school, I would wet my hair with water before entering the house so that my family would think I had spent hours training at the swimming pool. But the truth was that instead of training, I would sit in a cyber cafe with my coach and play video games because I had absolutely no interest in swimming. But one day everything changed when I met the swimming champion of the year, who had won a competition and received a very expensive pair of headphones as a prize. And looking at those headphones, I thought about my mother for the first time and remembered how hard she worked to pay my training fees and how she sacrificed her own happiness so that her son could have opportunities she might never have had. So at that moment, I decided to take swimming seriously. And when I went to my coach and asked for another chance, he laughed in my face and said I didn't have enough talent and wasn't made for this sport. But I didn't give up, and eventually the coach agreed to test me. And during the test, he was shocked to see my natural talent. And a few days later, my life completely changed as I started waking up every morning before sunrise and training in the water for hours. While whenever I made a mistake, my coach punished me very harshly, and slowly my back began to fill with scars and injuries. Strangely, the same coach would later sit beside me, feed me, and explain that becoming a champion required not only hard work, but also pain and sacrifice. And one day, my younger brother saw the marks on my back and immediately told my mother, and when she saw her son's condition, her heart broke. But even then, she remained silent because she believed that the pain he was suffering today would give him a better life tomorrow. And as months passed, the training became harder and harder, and I became so exhausted that I would sometimes fall asleep at school. But in the evening, I still had to go back to the pool. And finally, the day of the competition arrived, and I gave it everything I had. But I finished just 2 seconds behind first place and came in second, and there was a celebration at home. But then my father discovered the truth about the injuries on my back, and furious, he went to the coach and warned him that if he hurt me again, he would expose everything to the media. But the coach became even stricter, and one day I became so frightened that I ran away from the pool and went straight to my father, crying uncontrollably. And for the first time, I told them how I truly felt. I didn't want to swim anymore, and hearing this broke my mother's heart because somewhere inside, she too had been trying to fulfill her own unfulfilled dreams through her son, and arguments started happening at home every day. But eventually my family respected my decision, and my mother took all the medals down from the wall and began keeping her distance from me. While meanwhile, the truth about the coach finally reached the media. But my story wasn't over yet, because one night I went to the swimming pool alone, where there were no expectations from my mother, no pressure from my father, and no harshness from my coach, and I slowly got into the water and began swimming alone. And that's when I realized that I didn't hate swimming. I was just tired of swimming for everyone else. So the next day I decided that I would no longer swim because of anyone else's pressure and would swim for myself, and I started training again. And at the next competition, the race began, and I swam with all my strength, and this time there was only one thought in my mind: I just have to give my best. And finally, I reached the finish line first and won first place for the first time. And that day, I didn't just win a medal, I learned to make my own decisions about my life. So what do you think is more important in a child's life? Parents' expectations or the child's own dreams?